All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Hi guys, Gillian Leivers here, just checking in with you. You all know me, the man fighting the grave miscarriage of justice.
Don't flinch. We're pulling the curtain back on the injustice on the Greenfeeds case, where verdicts were handed down, but justice was not served. So buckle up. This isn't just a broadcast, it's a reckoning. This is a case of a grievous injustice, and we want to understand how things went so wrong. Listen in every Saturday between 12 and 2 p.m. and hear how the story unfolds. You'll be blown away by its content. Only on Dreamcatcher Radio.
You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
Okay, we are back discussing the Greenfeeds case. Some people really want you to disappear, Ian, I assure you, in terms of covering this case. I want to welcome back episode 16, and we've got Jake back with us in this episode, and I'm joined also by Gillian Leivers. How are you guys doing, guys?
Very well, thank you.
Yeah, good. So we're missing Phil. Unfortunately, he's got domestic issues to deal with. However, something that Ian, you and Jake wanted to talk about is mysterious events that were happening on the Greenfields farm. So in this segment, I'm probably going to keep my voice in the background, where you guys can start talking about it and discussing it, because both of you got personal first-hand knowledge. I haven't. So I don't know where you want to start off, Ian.
Okay, well, let's just go for it. So after the double homicide in 2017, there was a lot of sabotage taking place and efforts to try to cause other problems with other tankers. And so to start it off, Richard Draycott in 2017 continuously kept coming back with product on his tankers. And it started with a few tons, and it went up, I think, right at the end, around about 12 tons. And it always happened on a Friday. And so what we did, we sent the tanker down the yard and just loaded it back up on top of what he'd brought back for a full load. And then on a Saturday, we'll get Sam Pepper in, part-time driver, and he'd take that load out to a farm over there, Weybridge, and he'd tip every drop. And he'd tip in circa 30 minutes, which is the time I allowed. So what I did, I collated all the Weybridge tickets, all this evidence, and we sent this over to Kennedy's Law Solicitors. But of course, this was just buried, and that went nowhere. So that's what happened there. And on the very last one, and I think it was around about 12 tons that Richard brought back, and Sam tipped it the next day. I had Richard in, and I shook his hand and said, "It's not working out, Richard," and I let him go. He did have tears in his eyes, and I never worked out after the deaths why Richard continuously kept on telling me we'd ring each other early hours of the morning when he was going out. We'd always have a catch up, and he continuously said to me this is not your fault, Ian, and I'm saying this from the bottom of my heart. But he just wouldn't say what really happened. And I didn't have a clue at that time, because the police had taken away the CCTR drive on the 4th of January 2017. And so I didn't discover the truth until really after the trial, when I had the hard drive footage forensically retrieved by Sci4 in Stockport, which cost me £3,500 to get it retrieved. And then I've discovered all the truth on the CCTV footage. So yeah, that was the first thing. We could call it sabotage, and I suppose it is sabotage. He tried to make problems, and then
So just before you move on, then, got a couple of questions on that. Then,
yeah,
you're saying it was Fridays,
yep.
and generally speaking, you didn't say that was the rule of thumb, but on Fridays you notice a theme. What sort of period are you talking about? Over what period?
I think Richard, when I finally let him go, it was around about I'd say about May time in 2017. So, it wasn't every load, and it was a trend to be happening on a Friday when he finished. He'd come back and he'd say, I can't get it all off. And it's no problem. He'd go home. And then, as I say, we'd take the lorry and tanker down around the back where we load up generally. And they'd put the loading pump onto the tanker, onto the free flow pipe, push on, say if he's bought 12 tons back, another 26 tons, another 16 tons. And off Sam would go on a Saturday. And all this was documented, Brad. Every one of my loads had to be documented. And Sam would get every single bit off that load. So he was just trying to create problems.
So after
There was also,
Oh, sorry.
Ian, also Andrew Evans used to take some out after,
Sure.
Saturday morning as well, and Dennis odd times that had stuff left on it, and not both of them never had any problems getting it off. So you've not just got one driver being able to get the same load off, but three, in fact, which obviously accumulated to you having to let him go.
On that point though, after he left, did you have load problems with anybody or
No.
Never,
We never had any problems at all. In the 4 years I continued after the deaths, there wasn't any problems at all. It disappeared.
And prior to the death, did you have any problems with his loads?
He claimed he was that week, but I can't talk too much about it because the investigators have done their work, and this is evidence that's gone off to the CCRC.
Right. Okay. So he was either very unlucky or basically bullshitting.
Yeah, I'd say the latter.
Yeah. Okay.
And so then after the deaths, because Nicky Maruniak was doing the health and safety, and we have risk assessments done by Aaron Shelley, we've found now the hidden statements that he made to Kennedy's Law solicitors, where he says he's disgusted that she says she didn't do health and safety because we didn't have many additions to the business from when Peninsula took over, was looking after my insurance. All the risk assessments for the business was in place. The mixing didn't change. There wasn't, the lorries didn't change. There wasn't much change. But what did change, and it was in 2016, is this. I'd won the Coca-Cola contract, and we put a new can crushing plant in one of the buildings. And Nicky Maruniak did the risk assessment and method statement for that. And Aaron Shelley referenced this in his statement that was, as I say, it was hidden. I didn't get that statement, or I didn't read it until the summer of 2023, actually. So what we did then, because immediately after the death, she's flinging her arms up, she doesn't do health and safety, we employed a man who did used to come to my site. He used to work the 360, and his nickname was Rab. Unfortunately, he passed later that year, but he took over and he did a great job with the health and safety. In fact, he taught Jake, because Jake worked alongside him, and then Jake took over after Rab passed, actually. And there was one instance here where we purchased a new man basket for the telehandlers for lifting at heights, Brad. And Rab held a toolbox talk in the staff canteen, and everyone signed the register. And the Maruniaks were in that toolbox talk, Mike Maruniak, Dave Maruniak. Now, the very next day, Rab walks down to the mixing shed, and lo and behold, Dave Maruniak has got Mike Maruniak in a loading shovel bucket up at height. Rab went crazy. He hit the roof. Can you remember that instant, Jake? What happened after that?
Yes, I can. I came into the shed and obviously saw the serious breach of health and safety. I mean, it's a serious one. Well, because the buckets are so slippy as well, because of the nature of the product you're using, so it would have been, it was highlighted even more that you could slip out of it. Not to mention that it's a father and son act. You'd think you'd want to keep your son safe, but it didn't appear to be the case. Anyway, Rab had them both out of the area onto the yard into an isolated area and tore strips off them. Now, I think that Mike did come and complain because of the way he was spoken to by Rab. But as you know, it was a very serious matter, and I think the nature of the telling off was justifiable.
Well, it got worse than that, Jake, actually, because what I did secretly, and again, this evidence went over to Kennedy's Law. It's there, it's all documented. They both, Brad, actually denied being in that toolbox tour. And so I was so enraged. We got examples of their handwriting, and Alex Fortune found an handwriting expert. Both of their handwriting was sent off to this expert. It cost me £500, and it came back that it was their signatures. And we sent this information again over to Kennedy's Law solicitors, and again it was hidden. That was
post the incident. Yeah.
These were post the incident, yes.
Wow, so you went into that much detail.
Of course, yeah. I was suffering, of course, but I'm a fighter, and I was enraged. What happened now? Here's my theory. What they were doing, I believe that they were photographing themselves doing health and safety breaches and feeding this information to Kirsty Iqbal, the lead dishonest police officer for Leicestershire Police, or even getting their breaches over to the solicitors and claiming this is what I was having them doing. But they didn't expect Brad to walk in early morning in the mixing shed when they was carrying this out. And there's no other explanation, Brad, is there? We've got the new man basket.
Just putting in, it was on the morning that you think I think we'd got one of the health and safety visits, hadn't we? If you remember right.
Can't remember that, but that's what happened, Brad. And what I say, we've had people come on the show to you and say, like such as Jay, oh yeah, he would do, he's my mate, and I'm saying, and I'm a liar. Well, what I'm saying, everything I say was documented to Kennedy's Law. It can't be denied. And this evidence, yeah, go on.
Yeah, the photos that you believe they were making of health and safety breach. I mean, these are grown-ass men. Anyway, but were any of these photos presented in court?
No, nothing. I think what they've done, wherever it went, whether it went to the health and safety executive, whether it went to the police, or whether it went to our solicitors, because we have in the unused texts between the Maruniak family, we have Nikki Maruniak boasting that she has our solicitors' business cards. And this was right at the very beginning where this boast was made. So why would they boast of having our solicitors' business cards?
I don't know. But the other
so
thing
they could feed them information.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing, where I'm using a reference to grown-ass men, why would they want to be working where basically they're saying, look, this is what he makes us do. Ian, have you got a shotgun there?
Yeah, I have, yeah. I mean, we have it also in the attendance notes or the news. Gillian and I talk about it where they're claiming Mike's wife and Nikki are talking, yeah, we'll bring them down. We'll have them closed down. Say the word. will get FEMAS. All this was happening. They were trying to put me on my knees after those deaths. They were trying to destroy the business to cover over whatever happened that night, Brad,
Well,
in
they
the mixing
succeeded,
shed.
didn't they? But the other thing as well, was there any reports made by them before this event or after this event to the health and safety executive saying, look, we're being forced to do this sort of stuff. We need you to let you know.
No, well, the health and safety executive, I can tell you, they came out on the night of the deaths, and the next day they left at approximately 4 o'clock on the 23rd of December 2016.
Yeah.
They didn't return until the 17th of January 2017, and they came out, I'd say, several times in 2017, and the last visit from the health and safety executive was in August 2017, and I never saw or heard of any health and safety inspectors after that date.
And what about internal channels? Because normally what you want to do is report it to management or whatever it may be. No reports of any.
No.
None whatsoever.
Mike claimed that he went in, and I think this is going to become a criminal investigation at some point. He claimed that he trod in a little hole in the mixing shed and damaged his foot. And our insurance company paid him out because James Shrimpton, my solicitor, said it would be better if we do so. This was documented. But I say this, Brad. Mike Maruniak is actually disabled. He has a club foot. And I believe that's the foot that he had the claim with. And even though we're talking about this now, there will become a day when this is investigated.
I wonder if it's actually illegal not to report health and safety breaches as well. Because you've got a duty of care, and not only for yourself, but also others.
Yeah, well, Jake could assist you with that question.
Yeah, I'm just reading this now, Jake. Just a quick one. I'll just give you what I've just read. On the health and safety executive guidelines, yes, it is illegal for employees and employers in the control or when dealing with other people in the workplace not to report dangerous occurrences or incidents in breach of the Health and Safety Work Act. That only must be reported if they feel that it's not been dealt with by the company's management in the workplace. Jake, you're going to help me as well, because you've got personal first-hand knowledge of this sort of stuff.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. You've got a duty of care to others that are working there as well. Obviously, if somebody's had an accident and they've reported it, and they've gone off sick and they've had eventually it's ended with a claim. We never located any hole in the floor, the said hole. So it was a bit of a difficult one to sort of fathom out. There was the odd repair in the shed from time to time through wear and tear, but the particular incident, as far as I know, it was never addressed in that way where it would be in danger to anybody else, you see. So from that point of view, at the time, when he had the accident, it'd have been who would have been. It'd have to go to directors to decide what action was going to be taken, if any, against the applicant of for the claim. So, and if it weren't addressed that way, it's just been missed.
Well, at that time, Jake, we reported everything to solicitors because we was under investigation. So we were taking advice from solicitors, and of course, the insurance company paid him out. I can't remember, Brad, what it was, but if I said it was £5,000, it may have been 3, it may have been 7. It was substantial money that they paid him out, and he never took any time off work. And if you watch him walk on any of these CCTV clips that I've got, you can see he walks. He is disabled.
Yeah. Is there many instances like that where your insurance company has paid people out on your workplace?
Not that I can recall. It's a long time back now.
Yeah.
You know, I can confirm that another time, but I can't think of any. Perry Cartwright did break his leg a long time ago. Now Perry works regular nights, and he slipped getting out of the lorry. And what we did after that, because Perry, as I say, throughout all the decades that Perry worked for me, he worked regular nights continuously. And after that, we got him a lone workers alarm, and he wore this around his neck because I couldn't have him hurting himself and not have no means to alert
I
us.
was in charge of the on-site action, if any, if that alarm went off of it through the night, if you remember. It
Right.
went straight through to my phone, and
Yeah.
but fortunately, obviously, never had another incident.
No.
So
But before
was
that,
good.
Jake, it used to come through to me, you know, and I'd go to bed at night and I always knew Perry could get hold of me. See, some people, Brad, would turn their phones off at night. I was never one of them, man. I had to have my phone on because I knew Perry was out there. So I kept the phone at side of me every night for decades, just in case something happened. But of course, that was the only one. We had Tim Corcoran. He'd made several accident claims that were in the accident book and been proven to be fictitious, which I'll come on to later if we get the time. But I want to come on to the next act of sabotage. On the night of the deaths, 22nd of December 2016, that day, I just had 2 new JCB telehandlers arrive. And if you read the outcome of the trial, everything says that I'm a penny pincher, not putting anything in. But if you look at the lorries that I purchased the best. In fact, I'm going to share one of Nigel Curtis's lorry on my next social. But anyway, so those JCBs in 2017, I purchased them from Norris Plant Hire, a company in Bottisford, local to me, Brad, the next village. They were the JCB suppliers. Now, in 2017, they were continuously breaking down brand new JCBs. And so Steve would send his lorry, take them back to his workshop, and it was discovered that someone was putting water in the diesel. It cost me hundreds of man hours with those machines continuously breaking down. Of course, we never found out who it was, but why would staff want to put water in diesel tanks?
It resulted in us moving the diesel tank inside behind the office under direct supervision and CCTV cameras, whereas before it was in an area where it was mostly used on trust.
Yeah.
You know,
Then Brad, I had one of the Manitos, and this is a strange one. This is a strange one. Because in 2016, when Gillian and I had semi-retired, and all the factual evidence went to Kennedy's Law to factually prove that Gillian had 150 work days away, which this was never given to the jury, and Stuart Brown was employed. When I bought those JCBs, I was having a lot of problems with the Manitos that were taken away and replaced with the JCBs. Now, one of those Manitos, I kept it, but I sent it to another company because it wouldn't start. Now, and I've still got the photo of this, Brad. I've shared it on social media in this past few years. The stack pipe that goes into the diesel tank of that Manito, in the diesel tank itself, I'd paint tipped into that tank. And there was my apple green, my company colours on the stack pipes. And they said someone has poured a tin of paint into this tank. They had to take the tank off, replace the tank. And we did have that Manitou back, and it ran fine. And so sabotage was taking place before the deaths. And I've always said this, and this has been documented to Kennedy's law solicitors. They didn't like it when I set Stuart Brown on. And they particularly didn't like it when I sacked Tim. You know, a mistake of mine, but I had to support Stuart because he was the general manager and transport manager, and I had no other options. And so I believe that some sabotage was taking place to cause Stuart problems in the hope that he'd leave the business.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, one thing on that point, you talk about evidence not being used. I know we're going to carry on talking about what you want to talk about as well. Is I want to briefly just remind you of a segment from that meeting that we went to the other day, where the biggest grievance of convicted persons is basically ineffective counsel. That's the biggest, and it appears very much yourself and Gillian were victims of that, where evidence that should be put before the court was not. And I think the reason I find, I don't want to stay on this subject. We maybe talk about this in part 3. But the biggest reason I find is because they don't do enough research into the actual case, but also I believe the preparation is just so poor. Where they look at relevant documents and that sort of stuff. I mean, I've never been inside where I've actually seen. Like, I'd love to go to a chambers and spend a couple of months there. I'd love to do that. Just watch how they operate. But I know many chambers, and in all honesty, they put on a facade. In my opinion, they tell you what you want to hear, and whenever I've questioned them about how do you judge what is you should use, if buts and maybes and that sort of stuff. Oh yeah. The answer I always get is so. Basically, we do reviews all the time, and then we look at what's relevant, what's not relevant, and I just think that's quite a lame response.
Yeah, I agree.
There must be a threshold for each piece of evidence. Right? This is really good. This is, perhaps if the strategy would be this, that's good. Or this is, toilet paper, just park that there. But even toilet paper, sometimes we all need it, don't we? So yeah, it's just I just found that quite interesting from that meeting the other day. Yep. I'll let you guys carry on.
Me too, Brad. I mean, in our case, for all those years, we sent file after file of evidence, and it is a fact that the barrister that I signed to head up the whole team, Gillian's barrister, Jim Agros, turned up at trial with no preparation for the trial whatsoever. I asked for this in 2023 when I came out of jail, and I was told this by Danny McShee from Kennedy's, and he just said, but this is no admission of guilt. All the statements that we've read out, Brad, the first time I came down to do this show, of all the drivers, all those were hidden. All the defence statements were hidden. Nothing. Gillian's solicitor, Nathan Buckley, claims that he only took 2 statements and he left them when he moved from Clyde and Co to Kennedy's. They just threw us under a bus. There was no defence put up apart from allowing those who were down there at the scene and their friends to come to court to tell a complete pack of lies.
Yeah, we've covered that before, like solicitors.
Yes.
Ian, just going back to the sabotage instance, can you remember if I can remember Mike telling me something about some burn he'd had on his hands through the acid the formaldehyde acid that we used to stop the fermentation. And do you recall any scar on his hand or out like that, or his arm?
No, I don't.
Was that ever reported? It was mentioned to me that it had happened, and I asked about obviously you weren't there, but at the beginning I used to contact you.
Yeah.
Until Aaron told me that you definitely, you didn't have anything to do with the running of the site really, and to go through him. He was going to be the new managing director, and nobody really knew, but you could remember that you'd bought a pump for the.
Yeah, sure.
diesel.
I purchased a pump.
You
Yeah.
told me what it looked like, so I went on the, being new to the job, you're eager to please. I went round every nook and cranny of the place and found it smashed up in the corner of, I think it was at the back of Tibbs' shed, if I remember right, just in a heap. We got a few scrap bits, obviously, as he did the metal work, and you can imagine how much spare parts he's got. Well, it was there. I brought it back to the office, and Alex said, yeah, that's what he's talking about. I sent you a WhatsApp, and I think you didn't buy a new one, if I can remember. You sent it off and you got it repaired because it's quite expensive, he said.
It was. Yeah.
So then I later got all that set into place, that it had you got electrician down there, that when we pressed the activation, it even had a beacon flashing and a warning sign. You went that extra mile to, I think it was just for you to reassure that it weren't going to get taken out and scrapped again.
Yeah.
But said because they used to be at the beginning when I started, they used to hold the IBCs of acid, go up the ladder, and then turn the nozzle on, and that's how he got splashed. And I immediately said, "This has got to stop. This can't be done this way." And when I told you, you were like, "What are you talking about? They've got a pump." So no, they do it this way. You were like, "What? Nobody's ever mentioned it."
That's right.
There you go. A case of there's nothing logged anywhere, and I've had a good look around the old files and things that you had. Nobody's reported that it was damaged or not in use. So it was a breach of the risk assessment that you got set up for using it.
Of course, yeah.
Not like saying none of this was ever
No.
looked into in depth by anybody.
Yeah, they were a law unto themselves almost.
On that point,
We also had
themselves.
if you
Here, we need to go to a break.
Sorry, Brad.
I said we need to go to a break, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
So if one of you have got a song choice that you'd like.
Okay, go Linkin Park, The Catalyst.
Okay, let's play that now.
It can't be outdone, it can't be Dreamcatcher Radio is about capturing and creating dreams through music, chat, and debate. Empowering expression, enriching society. A go-to place for unsigned musical talent. A radio station which listens to its audience. Free speech, vibrant, engaging. Stream worldwide 24/7. Events, competitions, promotions. Always keen to have a listening ear. Contact us. hello@dreamcatcherradio.com.
Dreamcatcher Radio.
Okay, we are back for part 2 here on Dreamcatcher Radio. Ian, as per normal, because everybody talks away, I cut you off before you could finish your sentence. I'm not too sure if you'll be able to remember what you were saying. But if
I don't.
we just move on.
No, I don't. Let's just move on. Let's move on and let's continue about misconduct and sabotage. I'd like to talk about Mike Maruniak again, and the reason I got rid of him after all those years. And so, it was either January or February 2017. I was down at the yard in the office on this particular Saturday, and Mike Maruniak was down the yard doing the mixing, and Tim Corcoran came in for a load. And he'd go around the back where you load up, and I called Mike to give him an order, and he didn't press the button to turn his phone off, and I could hear them talking. And I heard Mike say, "Do you want to fag, Tim?" And so I cut it off my side, rang him back, and went mad at him for smoking, because there is the designated smoking area up near the paddock, and we had lost a building the year before through smoking. The fire brigade confirmed. They did an investigation and they found nub ends in this building, which I lost. It was an 120 foot by 45 foot portal frame building, and the entire building went up. And so you'd imagine I wasn't very happy when he's offering Tim a cigarette. And so I sat in the office and I was waiting for Tim to come up, and I was going to have a word with him about it and give him a warning. But he went out. Anyway, Mike Maruniak had a warning over that. Now let's fast forward, as I said earlier, to the last visit of the Health and Safety Executive in August 2017. And all this, Brad, is documented, by the way. So on that last visit, that last day actually, Gillian, after the deaths, did get stuck in because I was medically unwell with all this, because I couldn't understand why 2 people was in one of my tankers. And that's as far as I want to go with it. It affected me mentally, and I was on medication. Gillian tried to hold the ship, but without me there at the helm, it was never going to succeed. But anyway, on that last day that the Health and Safety Executive were doing their last and final walk round, and by the way, they never looked at any of my road tankers, strangely enough, after the deaths. Only around the yard they wanted, from memory, some extra lighting in the can crushing shed, the new one which I spoke about earlier. They said it was too dim. And then the fabricator at the time, it wasn't Tim Walker in 2017. It was Danny, I forget his name actually. Anyway, he built a new gantry around the mixing plant, but he hadn't put a kicker plate on. And so that was one of the notices from the Health and Safety Executive. But on this final day, as I say, the head of the Health and Safety Executive Inspectors, Rashenda, was coming down. And Gillian actually went down into the mixing shed just to make sure everything was okay to see Mike. And she saw smoke coming up from behind the holding tank. that holds the confectionery blend, ready to go into the lorries. And Mike was smoking in the mixing shed. Now, here's the kicker, Brad. We all know, because we've discussed it, on the night of the deaths, Dave Maruniak screaming, running around like an headless chicken, trying to stop a rescue attempt, claiming the road tanker was going to explode. But here you have, in August 2017, Mike Maruniak caught smoking around the holding tank. All this is documented, by the way, and so I let him go. Now, Rashenda, on that day, she came up to see me in the boardroom, and I told her what he'd done, and I'll never forget what she told me. She said, "You have got to be strong, get rid." And so that's amazing, isn't it? How he's smoking around the holding tank. They knew goddamn well that my confectionery blend could never explode. And so it begs the question, why was Dave Maruniak on the night of the deaths screaming, "No, no, this fumes"? And we've got this because I heard it in court on the emergency call that Stuart Brown was on to the emergency services. I heard Dave Maruniak in the background screaming that.
Yeah, I mean, it's again another massive question. I mean, I still can't get over the 12-minute thing, and how he got left for so long. And also how anybody was allowed to enter the tanker. I don't get that either. But I mean, we've laboured that one enough. Potentially falling in, jumping in, climbing in, maybe pushed in, whatever it may be. We definitely laboured it.
It's amazing, isn't it? Did you get a chance to read the Robin Neves statement that I shared over today, Brad?
I haven't, but I can look at it.
No, it's okay. I don't think we should go into detail, because one day he's going to have to answer to perverting the course of justice.
I think I did see it because you highlighted some sections, didn't you? Or something?
I did indeed, yeah. But you'll have noticed it again. It was another one of those police statements that wasn't signed. But I just want to talk about one part of it because it's outrageous, and Phil's read it, and he talked to his wife about it, and she also agreed. Because the whole entire statement was outrageous. And this made me poorly, actually, because this was made in January 2017.
Hey, bear with me, and I found it. Yeah, let me just read a bit of it. Yeah. So this is a police statement where he calls himself a HGV driver, and it's consisting of 11 pages. He basically introduced himself, and he said he's been there for 3 years at Greenfeeds. I left Greenfeeds about 2.5 plus 3 months ago at the end of 2.5 years / 3 months ago. Okay, let's just go with the 3-year bit. He was there for 3 years, basically. I've been sick for 5 weeks before I left with depression and stress. The stress.
Yeah. Can I just pause you on that, Brad? Because
go ahead.
What you've just said there, and I think it goes on to his doctor.
This is a guy that's being bullied.
Yeah, this is the one that was blackmailed to come to court. This is Gillian's only accuser that said outrageous things in court that you could hear a pin drop in court when he said basically she was dragging him down to the tanker with his hair. So on that bit where you've just read there, Brad, we have an email from him in that period where he said he was ill, saying, "Do not send anybody from the yard to my house." Now, he lives in Grantham. We live the opposite direction. Who was he referring to in the yard? Because we didn't work in the yard, the Leiverses. There was only the Maruniaks that he didn't want going to his house. And this is true. And we have got that email from him. You can go on, Brad, and read a bit more. Just be cautious, because one day he will be charged for perverting the course of justice, and he will go to prison for life for this.
Okay, let's go on. I would have to climb up about 5.5 to 6 feet to the platform. He's referring to a big green crusher.
Yeah, he is. It's one of mine. I put it on the socials recently. It's what we built. I was the first person in this country to use these machines commercially. They're used for decanting cans, taking the contents out, packets, you name it. Everything went through them. They're fantastic. I built them in the end, and they were brilliant. But they just had a little hole at the top, and you'd throw pop bottles in it, cans into it. Andy Hargreaves referenced it earlier today when I had one at my farm at Rainworth back in the early 90s. He said as a young kid, he used to throw pop bottles in it. Just got a small hole at the front, nothing dangerous. But go on, Brad, read what is put, because I think it's...
Yeah, I'll carry on. It still amazes me, the business model where you can get all this stock for pretty much free. Anyway, one of which, the platform had two legs. It references page 2, one of which was broken off, but to look like it was still attached, they just put it under. So the leg was loose and wasn't fit.
Yeah. Can I pause you on that, Brad? Because we could spend the rest of this episode going through Robin Eve. You've seen the craftsmanship of Tim Walker. I'll say no more. Carry on.
It was his work, was it?
No, I'm saying you've seen the work he can do. If there was something broken, you know.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, the stuff is highly technical stuff.
Yeah.
In millimeter precision, some of it, if not less. Therefore, really only one leg was supporting it, therefore making it wobbly and unsafe. So why would you walk up it if it's wobbly and unsafe? Anyway, let's carry on. There were no railings around the machine, and if something was stuck in the machine, I would have to put my hand in to unblock it. Wow. All right, what do you say about that?
Well, there's safety switches on them. The whole sides open up. Every day you have to open the machines up because you used to get polythene that could wrap around the paddles. So it was a maintenance thing. At the end of the day, you open it up, and of course, yeah. But I can't think what I'd get wrapped and blocked to turn that off. You know, as I say, if you chucked in it tins of ambrosia, which I have done, it strips the can open, spits the rice pudding through the screens, and throws the can out. They're that good.
See, something that's really interesting here. He goes on to say, sometimes the power would be switched off to do this, but not always. Are you an idiot?
You'd have no hand.
Exactly.
And arm, basically, you know what I mean?
Carry on.
Yeah.
Carry on.
I mean, that's beyond even common sense.
Brad, I'm just going to ask you a bit of advice. I don't think it's any detriment to us, is it? Because he will have to answer to these crimes.
No, it isn't.
Carry on then.
Yeah, this is because the cameras in the yard, which can see the crusher. See, that doesn't even articulate well. Anyway, but I get it. But basically, sometimes the power would be switched off. I mean, surely he'd be responsible for switching off any power anyway, or
You'd hope so.
on. And what? I mean, it's like putting your hand in a blender when it's still. It's insanity, isn't it?
Carry on. It gets better.
But you employed these people, you.
I know. But Brad, let me tell you, and remember, this has been documented. Gillian said, "Speak to Robin. He's the one." And then that came through.
Okay,
it was a lovely lad. Brad, let me tell you, he only ever called me Mr. Leivers, and I continuously said to him, "Robin, it's Ian." He was so courteous. He was such a gentle young man. This statement rocked my world when this came through. This put me on medication.
And okay, I'm just trying to picture this, right? So this platform, would you have to go up and down the steps, get the stuff on the ground, bring it up, shove it?
No, of course not. Down a platform, you put a pallet on it and you feed it into the machine. Can you imagine having a pallet on the floor and you're picking a pop bottle up, you keep going up?
Well, that's basically he's saying, therefore, if you come off the platform too much, this was because there's cameras on. Okay, I see why he's on about the cameras. You guys can see him from the office. Is that true?
Yeah, that's what he's implying. Yeah.
Is that true or is that not?
There was a camera down there facing at the mixing shed.
Okay. This is the one that kept on getting damaged as well, is it?
This was another one.
Yeah. Okay. Therefore, if you come off the platform too much, Gillian Leivers, so he's expressed himself, would ring you and ask you why you would be doing this. Well,
Hey, Brad, here's a point. Mobile phones work then, don't they?
Yeah,
Down there at the mixing shed. Why didn't 8 of them ring 999 on that night?
quite, absolutely. Therefore, I felt under tremendous pressure to keep going and wouldn't always remember to turn off the machine when unblocking it. I mean,
Jesus.
geez.
It's just should have been chucked out of court on this alone.
Gillian is the
Not
one
anything else.
managing
It's
director.
ridiculous.
I would say Gillian pretty much runs the place. I would also help. We go to the next page. And with that, okay, Jakey and just talk a sec. This my system's just decided to switch that off. Carry on talking a sec, 1 second, and I'll go back and find this to carry this on because this is really interesting. I had a glance of it earlier.
I'll tell you what, Ian, I don't know what power you must have had over keeping people in work for 40 hours a week plus against the will, because we can't keep young lads for 3 days.
I know.
Where we are, they don't want to come. They don't want to come to work.
They worked for me for decades, but the statements made it sound like Auschwitz.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Okay, it goes on here. This was because it couldn't reach the blockage on the outside, so would have to do it from the inside.
There won't be a blockage on an outside.
Yeah, this is what it says here. It couldn't reach.
It's a can crushing machine. That's what they do. Can't block. They're designed to throw anything at it, and it strips it open, takes the contents out of its packaging. You could put, and they have done, tins of paint in these machines. That's what they're designed to do.
Yeah, are these like these ones where you can just shove a bike
Hey,
in?
Brad, here's the thought. I wonder if he's getting this crusher mixed up with a tanker, saying that he had to go inside it. I wonder if he's referring to this crusher.
Well, let's
Which
go
you
on.
couldn't. Go on.
Yeah, he goes on to say this. It's pretty much from when I started in the company. And he goes, and this is quite damning what he says now here. I would be getting inside. He's on about tankers now. We could be on about tanker here. I'll be getting inside page 5 tankers at least twice a month. My record was 3 times in 1 week.
Brad, let me just tell you on that one. This is when in my police interview, when Kirsty Iqbal read this out to me, that I sniggered and she said, "Do you find it funny?" And I said, "No, you've asked me this 2 years ago. I didn't find it funny then, and I don't find it funny now." I was furious for the fact being we have his daily job sheets, everything that he did, because I had to read them. I didn't say I had to. At weekends, I would check to see what my staff had done that week. And not on one daily job sheet did he ever write that he went into a tanker. And so that's what I said to her, Brad. Now, do you think when she was asked, when she was under oath, in all of my police interviews, did I speak? Do you think she should have mentioned this?
Yeah.
That's a question to you, Brad. Do you think she should have told the jury what I said to her?
No, of course.
You do.
Even your protesting things should be mentioned.
Right.
I mean, this is very relevant.
Because I said to the solicitor straight after, Brad, when she came off the stand, why didn't she mention what I said to her in the Robin Neve, when she mentioned Robin Neve? Because she told the jury that I went no comment in every one of my police interviews. I've now got that recording with me where I spoke to her.
Yeah.
And you know what she did, Brad? When I confronted her, she'd got me. You know, that's the design norm of the police, isn't it? To get you to open up. So I'm there willing and ready to talk to her. You know what she did? She just moved on to the next question, went away from me, because she couldn't continue that line of questioning with me, could she? And I was ready. You know what I'm like, Brad. I was ready for it. I wanted to go. And she didn't. She moved on then.
Yeah, I definitely would say you can be a bit of a pit bull in a good way. In a good way.
It's okay. We know each other.
Yeah. To access the I'm reading something else here. The other thing to note here is that it mentions his name, but where it says signature witnessed by is there's nothing there, which is a consistent theme of your witness statements in your case. All right. To access the inside of the tanker, I would go up the ladder on the outside of the tanker. I would sit on the edge of the hatch at the top of the tanker and drop myself in. None of the tankers have ladders on the inside of them to get out. I would aver just because there's no need to have a ladder there to go in and out tankers because it's not a common policy, which we've already kind of established already. Let me carry on. Therefore, you can help me out with this, you and Jake. Therefore, it was a shallower tanker. What does that mean?
Not a clue. There's none. You see where I've made. They the ones that I went through and put the lines through them. It made no sense what he was talking about.
Okay. I would pull myself out through the hatch, but if it was a deeper one, someone would have to help pull me up. Now, shallow, I'm guessing he means by height of the inside.
Yeah, that's interesting, Brad. You say that, and I've not thought of that before. So someone would have to pull him out. Well, what happened when they claimed that Gavin Rawson was stood at the hatch that night? When Jack Maruniak went up the tanker, he told the jury this. He said when he climbed up the ladder, when Jack Maruniak climbed the ladder, Gavin was stood there. He claimed that he could hear Gavin shouting his name, so there's no toxic fumes. He told the jury this because actually, Brad, Jim Agros, the barrister, said, "So, Mr. Maruniak, you telling me that you could hear Gavin shouting your name from the other side of the mixing shed with all that machinery running?" And he said yes. So you think about that. You've got machinery running and Gavin has got that much air in his lungs. He's screaming Jack's name. So when Jack climbs the ladder, he tells the jury that Gavin looked a funny colour. Well, why didn't he pull him out like Neve claimed happened?
The other thing as well, obviously we're not party to any transcripts at this stage. I'm hoping to get some. But who would help pull him out? Has anybody come forward to say I've actually been pulling him out from time to time or anything?
Don't recall, but of course he's embroiled with the Maruniaks. Whether Mike, but I remember, Brad, we've got Mike Maruniak's hidden statement to solicitors, claiming that the only time that he saw someone in a tanker, and it was Nathan, he claims a month before, he screamed at him to get out because he claims that you don't go in tankers, obviously. So I don't know who was pulling Neve out.
Well, the other thing as well, I haven't got the year is when he is employed, but bear in mind, he says he goes into tankers 3 times a week. Gillian was hardly there, but he goes on to say this. I asked numerous times for a ladder inside the tanker to assist in getting out. I asked Gillian this every time, but she wasn't there all the time.
I know. He's pinning her into his blackmailed.
Yeah, and she said they would get round to it when they have less important tasks to do. Every time I went into the tanker, I asked for a gas mask, like an oxygen mask, to help me with the fumes. I would ask Gillian for this as she controlled the money. Yet it's been identified already that basically, even when merchants come around to your farm to sell their stuff, everybody would use it like a tuck shop. Is that right, Jake?
It is, yeah, it's correct, yeah. It was they could have what they needed or wanted. So open purse, really, the back of that, is it Kingsley, Ian? One of them?
It was Kingsley, yeah. All the invoices went off to Kennedy's Law. Everything I talk about, Brad, remember, is supported by facts and evidence.
Yeah.
He goes on to say she would give me a dust mask and told me if the fumes were too bad or to wear too. I mean, obviously I can't account for that, but this is what he says.
But you know the odd thing, the most bizarre thing, So he's claiming he was going all the time and asked for dismas, and Gillian was giving them. But then remember, we've got Nigel Curtis, the cold-blooded murderer, who, on the night of the deaths, in his statement, says that he thought they'd fallen in and he'd never seen anyone in a tanker before. He continues to drive for me for several months, and then voluntarily, apparently, goes back to the police and then says that he came up to the office with Robin in October, November 2016, demanding breathing apparatus, and Aaron gave him a dust mask. This was presented to me in a police interview, and I came back to the office, told Aaron Shelley this, and he went to the police voluntarily to deny this entirely. So how does that make sense, Brad, where he's claiming he's coming up all the time and Gillian giving him dust masks, but then you've got Nigel Curtis claiming it was on one occasion that he came up again? That's what I say about this lot. None of it makes sense.
It gets really interesting here, actually, because he comes across as if he knows better than you. The reason why there would be fumes in a tanker was because acid was mixed in the blend. There would be about 100 to 300 litres of acid in the mixture. This would depend on what the mix of that day. He's very, he's obviously...
He's the tech man, isn't he?
Yeah. The acid would be used to stop the mixture fermenting in the tanks to make it easier for the drivers. Although, this is the important bit here, just for the sake of his experience, although I'm aware they don't have to use it, I have been told that they recently stopped using it. So he's got knowledge of what's in the tank. I mean, I wouldn't go into a tanker with acid anyway. I mean, it just seems ridiculous. Although I'm aware that it's not to use it, I'm pretty sure they use a lot of stuff in the blend that they shouldn't. So that'd be further reasons not going to tanker. I have known foil to be in it, a dead seagull.
That's what I was talking about, what brought us to Robin Eve, when you said about, I think, things in tanks or something, and I just remembered the seagull bit.
Yeah, plastic and metal. I mean, the only way... I mean, a dead seagull. How do you know? I don't know. Oh, man. This is because there is not the correct machinery to filter the product through, because they don't want to use money. What do you have to say about that anyway, Ian?
Well, you've seen all the machinery that I've shared on my socials. I spent hundreds of thousands of pounds on machinery. You've got the mincer with 10 mil holes. First of all, it goes in the mixing tank, as you know, like a huge blender, breaks up everything into small enough particle size to go down a 12-inch pipe, and then it's a mincer with cutting arms to go through 10 mil holes. Then it's used positive displacement pumps to suck it, and goes over a vibrating sieve, and then into the holding tank, and then it's pumped through positive displacement pumps onto the road tankers, and it's a smoothie. So where do you get the big lumps of metal from? And what on earth is a seagull doing? Climbing into one of my tankers. Unbelievable.
Yeah, don't know. Okay, this gets to another interesting point here. This is the one reason why the tankers get blocked up. About half the amount of time I have got into the tankers to clean them, they had food in the blend. Right, listen to this bit, right? This is really important, this next bit, right? Generally, it would be about 3 to 5 tons, but there has been more. Now, this is the important bit here. Some of the tankers are deeper than others, and it came up to my knees before. Do you know we was talking about how much product, if someone went into the tanker, 6 tons, I think it was 6 tons, isn't it? That was there, right? Yeah. So he's been in the tanker himself, which he's saying has a similar amount of content in.
Yeah.
And he survived.
He survived. But, Brad, to this day, over 9 years on, nearly a decade later, what were they going to do?
Well, I'm just saying he's demonstrating here that he'd happily go into the tanker three
Yeah.
times a week in a similar
Over-
sort of environment that these gentlemen sadly lost their lives in, and he survived every single time.
Yeah. Weird.
The some of the tankers had a baffle in them. I find it, that extremely important. The reason being, whilst because the thing is, if he's saying that he got told to get into tankers and sometimes he lift himself in and all this sort of stuff, like one would assume then, Gavin and Nathan did the same thing that night or something similar. So they should still be here today.
Strange, isn't it?
He's done it roughly 3 times a week.
Hey, Brad, here's an interesting thing for you because you've have experience of this. Do you think that perhaps Jim Agros should have picked this statement up and discussed this with Robin Neve in the trial?
This is a massive issue.
Yeah, he didn't use it.
Yeah.
This statement. No, this wasn't shown to him. No. Didn't discuss nothing.
This is a large metal plate, the baffle this is, with a hole in the bottom to allow liquid through. One of the tankers had 5 baffles in it. Depends on the tanker. How many tankers did you actually have, Ian?
I'd run at any one time, say 4, but I had other tankers. I was a man that didn't ever want to break down, so I'd have spare tankers.
So the other thing as well, just thinking about that logically then, yeah? So he goes into tankers about 3 times a week, and you got 4 tankers. So he goes into what, is it the same tankers he goes into 3 times a week, or is it?
We've got to assume this is just a pack of lies, but let's unpack it.
Yeah, I'm just saying,
Yeah, I know it.
That would be a reasonable question, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you'd expect so. You'd expect the barrister or the barristers to have put these questions to Robin Neve. But let me tell you what they did to him. They allowed him to come in, and we haven't got the transcripts at the moment, they were the solicitors, and say what he wanted, which was outrageous. As I said, I thought the judge was going to stop it. What he was saying was outrageous. And then Jim Agros, all he did, Brad, was pick up all the daily job sheets, weekly ones, a bunch of them, and he said this to Robin Neve. He said, I'm simply, it's no other way of putting it, you're simply telling a pack of lies. And that was enough for the judge to bring in bad character against Gillian. We had a second opinion from another barrister about that. And this barrister said Jim Agros should have known better to have attacked him like that.
Yeah, okay. Therefore, in order to get to the rear of the tanker, I'd have to crawl along the bottom of the tanker. And the other thing as well, tankers are dark as well.
The dark, but he said he's up to his knees and now he's crawling in it.
Yeah, and jeez, and I'm sorry for laughing. I really do apologise to the listeners because this is serious. And go through the hose at the bottom to reach the rear. I would have to do this even in the mixture in it. To clean out the tankers, I would be in my general overalls. But you know the other thing as well, in this as well, it doesn't even, no one's discussing even a method. How do you get it out?
No, that's what I've been asking the same question 10 years later, Neil.
All he asked for was some dust masks.
Yeah.
This is outrageous. Anyway, we've got to go to a break very shortly. Let me just see if I can grab something more from this. I know this moved. I also think that it's important to say that I'm aware there are a couple of pallets worth of asbestos that is buried in the ground in the backyard, past the mixing shed.
What relevance has this got, if any?
Well, I'm guessing they're just saying it's a theme that you're ignorant of health and safety.
Character.
Yeah. This is from the roof of one of the buildings where it had a fire. I know
that's the fire. That's the fire in 2015, Brad. And I want to tell you something now. The skip that's got the asbestos or had the asbestos in is still there today.
Right. Well, this gets even more interesting. I know this because I was told by Gillian to move it and bury it. I mean, he's reported himself for a crime there.
Yeah. Oh man. Man.
Okay, we have to go to a break. Jake, do you want to say a song that you like? Or Ian?
Yeah, Ian, you go, matey. You never like what I pick, so I don't want to upset
Oh,
you.
this is unbelievable. So, we better just go for another U2 song. Two Hearts Beat as One.
Two Hearts Beat as One. Okay, let's play that now. Okay, we are back. I just want to go backwards slightly here, where he talks about I would use the forklift to pick up products, blah blah blah. I had no license to drive the forklift. The only training I had is a person I first started there who showed me how to move it and pick things up with it. The person,
That's correct, Brad. Is line manager Mike Maruniak. He was the yard manager who's had training to drive the telehandlers. and who was the person then to teach other people when they come along. And that is completely okay. That is lawful. This is what you do.
Okay,
I've got a question.
go ahead.
Apart from moving it and picking things up, what else do you do with a fork truck?
Well, that is it. I can't answer it, Phil. It's that actually.
Oh, I
Move things
thought
and
that was leading on to something especially clever. Okay, right. Okay.
That is it, basically. When you move a fork truck and you pick things up with it, you've actually cracked it, basically.
I was just about to say, I was just thinking in my head, is Phil leading to the alien products that are found inside the pork trucks? Anyway, all right. Okay.
That's another series.
Yeah, you've missed. I know you've read this, Phil, but you've missed a lot of entertainment because this is the first time I've read it, and
Yeah.
you know, I know it's a serious subject and that sort of thing, but this has like made me like crease up thinking that this has never actually been talked about in more detail. He goes on to say, the asbestos buried in the ground, and Ian said it's in a skip, which is still there now.
To add to that, Brad, actually, I employed a company, Steve Watchorn, who came in to strip the roof after the cigarette nuts, the cigarettes, stub ends, whatever it was, set fire to that building. You know, it cost me a lot of money. The building wasn't insured. It was one of my storage buildings, and I lost an entire building. And then, of course, paid Chris Watchorn to come in with his men. This is what they do to strip off the roof.
Yeah, because there's all sorts of special measures need to be put in place,
Absolutely,
including bagging and covering and all.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's openly said here that he's buried it under instruction from Gillian, and obviously, not obviously, one would believe that this is not quite true.
So, is it still there in the skip then, Ian?
It is, Phil. Actually, it's in a sealed skip, and it's still there now, a decade on. There's various reasons for why. One, I'm not there, and it still sits there. I actually, and it's funny. What reminded me of it, I wanted the tanker, as we all know, Green Goddess, moving to clean it up so we can do some reconstructions with the Green Goddess to demonstrate, because this is one of the TCM5 baffles, that you cannot commando crawl through them, because it's the hatch is right at the front, and if you imagine then the baffles going, I think it's got more than 5 actually, Phil, and this is not like Gordon the tanker with an 18-inch hole in the middle. This has got half moon shapes at the bottom.
We've had this conversation before, haven't we?
Yes, and so I wanted to move Green Goddess, and actually Glenn was going to come in on his way past and move it for us, but then Jake sent me a photograph saying this asbestos skip is still in front of it. It's in a sealed skip. There's nothing wrong with it, and it's sat there.
Whose skip is it?
Chris Watchorn would have organised it to have come at the time.
Because I'm surprised whoever waste company it is hasn't actually been chasing you to get their skip back, if nothing else.
You are surprised.
Okay, the firm are very money orientated. I believe they did this to save money, as it would cost to do it the proper way. But you're saying you employed a contractor in?
I did indeed. Invoices from him. I think actually, when he said all this, Brad, Gillian got the invoices and sent them to Kennedy's Law.
Right. How old is this guy, Ian, by the way?
Robin Neve. Pass. I'd put him perhaps in his
fourth statement.
Would he be in his 30s or 40s? So he's not an old guy.
Okay. The whole office.
Is he simple?
You'd think so, wouldn't you?
He sounds it, doesn't he?
Yeah. As I said, Phil, earlier, you missed that one. He was very polite. He was such a gentle young man, and he had a good relationship with Gillian. This is why Gillian said, before this statement comes through, get hold of Robin. He would know that nobody ever went into a tanker. And then this statement come through and just blew us away.
Yeah, I still don't get it, even if there was something.
We've got texts, Brad, between Gillian and Robin, where he's being bullied, and she's saying, would you like to meet me for a coffee? We can discuss it. would these texts were given to Kennedy's Law? Would these sort of texts take place with what you're reading out tonight?
Okay.
The thing is, anybody reading this blurb that he's got in his statement would look at it and go, "This is like farcical. This kid's been given his opinion. It is farcical."
Yeah,
Even the wife, if my wife, when I read bits to the wife, she went, "Well, that's a load of rubbish. Absolute rubbish." He's been told what to say.
Just even the construct, though, Phil, opens a can of worms. If this is something they're relying on and he's relying on, like I say, I've only just read this now.
Well, I mean, a normal person would go, "Well, prove it. Go on, prove it. Well, prove about the asbestos." Well, he can't because it's sat in a bloody skip, isn't it? I mean, he's lied about that straight away.
Yeah.
Unless there's more asbestos that we don't know about that he has buried. I mean, and what's he done? Buried it with that fork truck.
Absolutely, yeah. And you've got a contractor on site. You know what they're like, Phil. They came on with all the overalls zipped up. They had to have all the protective gear on to do this job. What would you do? You know, absolutely. So we go to them measures, then you say, Robin, use that fork truck that you picked that up with its forks and put that over there. Oh, it's just. I have no words.
I know this is not relevant to this anyway, but you know, like
No,
for
it's not.
example, you've got your private investigators, and this is not really relevant to the case, but I'm getting, you know, the whole point, I guess, is to create the theme that you really don't give a crap. But your private investigators, well, I don't know if you would have talked to them anyway, but
they've covered. They've covered Robin Neve well.
Point me where this is then. Anyway, therefore I knew I could not say anything. Okay, yeah, no, sorry, I've missed something here. The whole office, Gillian Stewart, transport manager. So that there's a title there. Ian and Lance, Jill and Ian's son, would say what happens in the yard stays in the yard. But what you're saying is that actually he has been messaging Gillian about issues with staff.
Yes.
And she's offered to provide support. If someone was to say something, you would be called in the office and your loyalty would be questioned. Yet people work there for years.
Yeah, I know. What? I don't know. Carry on.
Yeah. I think what he's alluding to there is that if you've got any dirty washing, it stays within those four walls. It stays in the company. You don't go talking about it outside. Basically, you know what happens on the mile stays on the mile. It's actually a quote from the Green Mile.
Yeah, what I'm thinking in this though, right, and obviously we can only use our assumptions, is having worked in environments where men should be men, is that you shouldn't be a snitch if someone does something wrong or talks shit about perhaps Ian or Gillian or other staff. You know, you should keep it to yourself. That's possibly I'm just assuming something of what it means in here. The loyalty will be questioned by your fellow colleagues. I imagine. I don't know. A few times I've been called in by Gillian for even discussing things with other yard staff. I was even fined once for putting pallets to what I thought was scrap. Fined by who?
That's amazing, but he's got a figure though, Brad, hasn't he?
1,500 quid.
Absolutely. We've demonstrated that not a single penny came out of his wages given to Kennedy's law solicitors.
So he lied about that?
Of course. Unbelievable.
I mean, it's not even legal. Like I was saying about his age.
Yeah.
You can't even do that.
It used to be covered by a thing called the Truck Acts, didn't it? You couldn't take anything that wasn't statutory out of somebody's wages without consulting with them first.
Hang on a minute, and let's just think about it. How much do you think he earned as one of my yard staff?
Well, I was going to ask you if you've got any jobs, actually, but I mean... If I want to lose 1,500 quid, blood and son.
I mean, the other thing as well, I wonder if other people got fined for similar mistakes. You know, if this is how the business operates, you would never stay there, man. And he stayed there for 3 years, he says.
Yeah.
And he got a fine, and it got took out as wages. Jeez. All right, and this was never challenged, also, I guess.
No, none of this. None of it. No.
But it's provable, isn't it? You can prove. You can
Yes,
prove
Yeah,
that.
it's an easy win, isn't it, Phil?
Yeah, we gave it to the solicitors. You'd have expected them to use it to have dismissed him as a liar. You know.
Yeah.
Okay.
You'd like to get him on the stand, wouldn't you, Brad?
Oh man, do you know what? He'd be crying in the space of 5 minutes.
He'd have more arseholes than a herd of buffalo.
I mean, this is absurd. This. All right. Okay. Let me just carry on. If a lawyer would come in and the lawyer, if a lorry would come in and the driver would say that he had a blockage and couldn't get all the food mix out. Bear in mind, you've got that pump to pull it out as well.
Absolutely.
Then the driver or any of the yard staff would jet wash the free throw on the outside, so he doesn't get in the tankers. Then, all right.
Oh yeah, well, carry on.
Of the tankers to see if it would release the blockage. If it didn't work, I would then be told to get inside to the tanker by Gillian. Now,
Gillian, yeah.
I then go back to what my previous point was, that Gillian and Ian were not always there at the business premise. I'm guessing you could say, well, they used the mobile phone to communicate, but you had yard staff there, so why would they be calling Gillian? Because if someone was calling me all the time as well, if it's a basic day-to-day issues, I would say speak to your line manager.
Yeah, Mike Maruniak. You can see on Tim Walker's Facebook post that I share, it mentions Mike all the time. Mike was the yard manager. It was paid the yard manager's wage.
Yeah.
It was on the company hologram. Yard manager.
Even if I was the yard manager as well, I would be saying to him, why are you going to Gillian all the time? Why are you not talking to me? Come to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't, I'll dock your wages. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll take another 1,500 off you.
What I liked was the one when he said when he was in the tanker, it was up to his chest in product.
Yeah, one thing that's really interesting, Phil, he's describing the situation, what actually went on that night in the evening, where the product will be up to his knee height, and he's still alive, and he used to do this 3 times a week, and that, you know, it's kind of like it kind of produces. Oh, how come they didn't survive then if he was doing it 3 times a week?
Because, Brad, it was never confirmed by the coroner that it was definitely drowning. He only assumed this. He said, for what he's been told, he can believe what they've said. We don't know how they died to this day.
All right, I'm just going to go onto the final page here. On the yard, this is on the yard, not the farm. He said there's no health and safety person and no first aider. What do you say about that?
Well, Nicky Maruniak was, but of course, straight after she claimed she didn't.
But when he's itemising the people in the office, he doesn't mention Nicky, does he?
No, I noticed that as well, Phil.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think it's probably because, there was no procedures at all, even written down or verbal, about how we should clean out tankers. I think this was probably because we shouldn't have been doing it.
No kid.
I'm aware that Mike has been inside a tanker once. Bear in mind, once. But yeah, he's doing it.
Mike went there for decades.
Yeah.
Mike went there for decades.
But it was always me that went into the tanker with no.
Hang on, Tim Walker's first statement said it was his daily job. They're all in them.
Yeah, this is insane. This is the other thing, as you know, as I was saying earlier, there's no lighting. It doesn't ask for any special equipment. You know, how do you get it out anyway? What do you use, a broom, or he says jet wash and all that sort of stuff.
No, hang on, Brad. What he said in court is that they'd get a strap and they'd put it on the fork truck and then they'd lift him out. Well, could you imagine? Just think about one of them telehandlers, Phil, and you're going outside of the tank and you boom it out. You're going to have to boom it right up in there. Then someone's going to have to climb up the ladder of the tanker and dangle it in. Then I've demonstrated this when I did the half marathon at Alton Towers. When you hang on, I did it in the gym. I beg your pardon. I put a strap on one of the machines there, and I could hold on to it for a matter of seconds. So he claimed that they lifted him out on a strap.
But would your telehandler even go that high?
No.
Yeah.
And I want this is something else I want to demonstrate. And he also said, guess who did it with him? He thinks it was Dave and Mike Maruniak.
Yeah, it's a load of rubbish.
It's definitely a load of rubbish. It's definitely.
He claimed that he'd come up to office for a revolt, and guess what? He didn't mention Nigel Curtis. That's something else that I've just thought of right here, right now. He told the jury, and he was asked who was with him. He said, "I'm pretty sure Mike was with me."
Okay, this gets even better now, right? This is this clever little bollocks that he thinks he is, yeah? That he acts dumb as well. To fix machines, etc., that were broken, they would use a welder called Tim.
Yeah.
He was not a qualified engineer, but would do everything. In my opinion, he was fixing things that require a qualified electrician. If he knew that, right, he must have surely knew not to bury asbestos, right? He must have surely knew to get into tankers and get in and out of tankers, which he's only said in his own statement. There was no ladders there. There was nothing.
There's no procedure.
It's not normal. It's not normal for that to be an access route, an ingress and egress route, or anything like that. So he claims to be intelligent in some sections, stuff that he's not qualified for. He's not an electrician or anything like that. He's an outside reserver.
Because it sounds like it's been co-written, don't it, as well? There might be that element.
Yeah,
Do you think, Jake? Do you think?
It is
I think.
Yeah.
Because he said that it's dangerous to get in, the dangerous stuff that they used to use, acid, 400 litres of acid per blend, yet it's crawling along with his belly.
Can I just say something there, guys? Jake, can I just add something? Then I'll let you carry on, three of you. 400 litres. I used to put 100 litres in per load. It cost me £100 a load because it used to cost circa £1,000 an IBC to put the product in to stop the fermentation. So would I really want to put 400 litres in and cost myself £400? It's a lot of money, isn't it? And I'm the one who's supposed to be penny pinching.
I just want to finish this off, right? Because this is really interesting as well, right? Tim got a really hard time from Gillian. Tim? Who's Tim?
He's the unqualified electrician.
Oh, right. Okay. Got really
Tim
hard.
Walker.
Yeah, the engineer that we spoke to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fine. Tim, this is what I'm going to say. I mean, Phil would definitely have an opinion on this as well. Tim got a really hard time from Gillian and felt that he had to do tasks he didn't want to, even though they were outside of his skill set. Now, right, Phil, we remember this interview very, very well, right?
Yeah.
And Tim is brutal with his language. There is zero filter in there, yeah?
Yeah.
Did he once mention a bad word about Gillian?
No, never.
He didn't, did he?
Absolutely not, no. And we both were of the opinion at the end of the interview that Tim was actually a very highly qualified welder.
Well, Phil, can I just say,
engineer.
let me just say this, I'll let you carry on. Sorry to keep butting in. Please, guys, look at my daily socials, the work, the craftsmanship that I share of Tim's work on a daily basis. And I've still got many more photographs to share. I didn't appreciate him enough. I was with him at the weekend and I put my hand up. I was with his new boss. I underappreciated him, should I say, and I apologise for this because, wow, his work was first class. He's a top man. Yeah,
I'd be a bit pissed off if I was being dissed by somebody of the qualifications of this numpty, I'll tell you. I really would.
Well, wait till Tim hears this.
On that point, Phil, because you've had the benefit of reading the statement and you've discussed it with your wife.
Yeah.
What is your overall opinion of the statement?
My overall opinion of that statement is that it's a total load of rubbish from start to finish, that he's been coerced, he's been cajoled into saying certain things that he obviously can't prove and are obviously lies. So I don't think it's worth the paper it's written on. I'd love to get him on a stand, basically, because I would rip him another one, basically.
He's going on a stand, Phil. The detectives have got enough on him.
It's absolutely, it's absolutely disgraceful what this lad's done here. It really is disgraceful.
Mm.
And if anybody could take that as I mean, if you read that out in court, surely if my missus can see the holes in that, surely a courtroom could see the holes in that. It is just crazy, absolute crazy. And especially when you provided the proof, well, there's a bloody skip sat in the yard that's got the asbestos in it, mate.
But the other thing,
sorry, go on.
Sorry, Phil. I just wanted to say that, right? Talk about the morality of doing that witness statement.
I know.
And standing under it as well, Phil.
Yeah.
I just find
But
it.
I bet if you caught him around the back of the bike shed and stuffed it in his hand and said, "What the hell is this?" I bet he'd go, "They made me do it. They made me say it. It wasn't me."
Notwithstanding that as well, Phil, if I was a police officer, I mean, we don't know who took this statement.
Kirsty Iqbal.
Who?
Kirsty Iqbal.
Right.
End of conversation.
Yeah, I know you're not a fan of her whatsoever, but I'd be questioning it, like saying, "Well, what do you mean? Where do I find this information? And who was the person's lifting you into the tankers, like you say, lifted you in? So we can go and like validate this statement and that sort of thing." I think it's just absurd, completely untested, and anybody with common sense, with knowledge. Bear in mind, we're only doing this series, where it's episode 16. They would, well, no, actually, I'm gonna. I was just about to say they had a lot more knowledge than us, but it's clear that they just focuses on, I don't know what you call it. It's what's the word I'm thinking of? It's
Framing Gillian.
It's not hypocrisy. It's it's not even nonsensical.
She read this out to me in a police
perjury
interview.
Is what it is, isn't it? It's perjury. If you stand up in court and blab that lot out,
They're
perjury.
all going to jail. They're all going to jail. No, I'd say perverting the course of justice, isn't it, Phil? This statement.
Well, it is as well, yeah.
That's
lying in Her Majesty's court is perjury.
Yeah.
Yes,
in the court, but this statement perverted the course of justice, in my opinion.
But it's like an oxymoron as well. You're just trying to think, well, the sky's blue, but actually no, it isn't. In their world, it's something different. And I think what he's done here, well, with the aid of the police and others, no doubt, it is just beyond corruption to a new level. And to your barristers not to cross-examine and force this through, it's just beyond me. It's beyond me. It is just it's outrageous. And then to this, just I just don't know. It's just I don't know.
There are too many things in the statements that they've provided where you look at it, you read it, and you think, he's been told to say that, he wouldn't normally say that, he wouldn't use that terminology. He wouldn't, he's been advised to say that.
There's so many wins in that statement, Phil.
Yeah, it stands out like a mile, and especially the thing that really is sitting on my craw these days is the bit where the driver said, "Oh yeah, well it was Stuart Brown that told me to get him in the tanker," and they're going, "Well, who else was there?" "Oh well, Gillian was there." Well, Gillian would have to be there, wouldn't she? Yeah. And did she hear what was going on? Well, yeah, she must have done. How the hell do you know that? It's just crazy. You can just see it. It was all designed to nail Gillian, basically.
Actually, on that point, Ian, right? Did you ever have promotional marketing material for your business?
No, I didn't. Actually, I had brochures, and I had my nutrition leaflets that I used to.
Did you have anything in there that basically says our tankers are clean regularly?
Inside and out.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest with you, Brad, when you're a FEMAS member, and you've got the charts, you've seen the charts, I've shared them on my socials, the products we carry, and it's got, if you need a wash, and it's no, 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 because I carried no products that clashed that needed a washout. That was my business. And let me just say this. When I joined FEMAS, I used to go down to the Food Standards Agency in London. Martin Vardy used to come with me, and we'd attend meetings there. And at the outset, when this scheme was devised, we had to put in place measures for us all, because my competitors made out of these products dry material. So they grind chocolates and sweets and these sort of things to make their meal, if you like. And we had to, and we discussed with the Food Standards Agency methods to check for contamination. Now, the guys that made dry feed, and don't laugh at this, this was their method. You go to a heap of the meal, what you've got in the shed, and you have a shovel, and you get a shovel full of it, and you put it in a bucket, and you go into a room like a shed, it was taught like a garden shed, where there's no wind, and you weigh the meal, what you've got in the bucket, and then you sieve it. And then you take out any contamination, and you weigh that, and this is what we had to do on a monthly basis. Now, my method, because there was only me doing the liquid, so it was my input as to the method to how to check for contamination. And so it was the same. You get a bucket of the Greenfeeds blend, confectionery blend, and you've seen now the small 1-inch valve that we had just after the pump on the tankers. So you fill it up, you open the 1-inch valve, and you fill a bucket up. You bring it up into the room, that side of the kitchen, and you weigh it. And then you sieve it. And then you, and it was said this to the others too, and same with me. You use tweezers to pick up any contamination, okay? Have a guess what percentage was allowed. And FEMAS used to check where they come. What percent would you say? Take a guess, everyone.
1%.
I wouldn't have a clue.
Well, Jake knows. It's 0.1% was allowed.
Right, so very next to nothing.
Yes.
Just going back to that question though, Ian. Did you ever have in your promotional marketing material saying that you clean out your tankers regularly?
No, of course not.
Right, okay. Yeah. All right, guys, we've got literally 7 minutes left, so I'm going to leave the floor to you guys. I'm going to try and shut my mouth. I know it's difficult for me, but I'll leave it to you.
Well, there's
guys.
lots more sabotage, but I'm just going to run through a few quick without saying some. So there was one guy, and it was an AD plant, Phil, that I used to supply in Nottingham. Magnal, yeah. And we used to load him up some tipper loads of product. And he rang, and he's done a statement to this. He rang and said, "Oh, there's sabotage in these loads. There's great big lumps of metal in my load." That's one. Then we have, let's talk about Tim Corcoran, see if we can get this one, because we covered about the one where it said murdering effing bastard. We have another one. I was going to business on business. I was going to London on business, and Gillian was coming with me on this particular day, and we popped into the office. And he's at the hatch, the driver's hatch there, near the weighbridge room. And I was just chatting away. I don't know if I was chatting to Alex or someone. And he's talking to Gillian, and he said, he claimed he'd been to Breck's Pigs at Leeds, and some of the blend had gone over the top of the vertical tank, and it had burnt a hole in his whiskers on his face. So I looked at it. It's like one of them alopecia holes. And so I says, "Do you think I look green, Tim?" Now, I was suffering because this was after the death, and I wasn't very happy. Anyway, I left. Driving down to London, I rang Jake, and he'll tell you the rest of it. I said, "As soon as he comes back, you get him straight to the hospital." Right. So carry on, Jake, and I'll just try to finish. No, before you say this bit, Jake. So Jake did this, and I want him to talk about this. Then guess what I did, guys? I drove up the next day to Leeds to get a sample from the farmer, and I took it down to Corby to Abigail at Live Labs to confirm that my confectionery blend was just that, not a problem. Carry on, Jake. You tell them about what happened when it came in.
I think just going back, didn't you go to the chemist straight away and get him some ointment?
No, we went to London, Jake. I just rang you. I said,
Somebody
don't let
did.
nobody know. Don't ring him. As soon as he gets back tonight, you get him in the car and get him straight to A&E.
Yeah,
You explain what happened at A&E.
Yeah, I think somebody went and got him some cream immediately anyway. So he had some form of first aid to this.
We must have gone then to London. Carry on.
Yeah, he must have gone out. The weird thing is, we went to. I asked him to accompany with me up to A&E at Newark. We got up there, and I was very new to the health and safety position that I was doing there, so I was a bit green with it in places. Didn't know how far I could go with the issue of going into the cabinet with him when the doctor called him in. So I said, "Can I come in with you?" I started to walk in with him, and he immediately, as soon as we started to get through the door, he changed his mind. Started saying, "He can't come in with me. He's not family. He's not family. He's not coming in with me." So I said, "Well, I'm health and safety. I need to come in with him because it's a work-related incident." So anyway, I didn't end up going in with him. I waited outside. He came out. He wouldn't share any information that they told him in the cabinet with the doctor or anything. He'd got no prescription paper or anything like that.
Sounds like Trump.
So God knows what they'd said. Anyway, we went back. I reported this, obviously what had gone off to Ian. The next day, he was staying in the cab at night. We're on the yard. So the next morning, we'd got a load ready for him, and I woke him up. He bundled out of the curtain of the sleeping cab of the lorry, and the patch that had been burnt off his face had started growing back. And I said, "It's growing back, Tim. Are you all right now? It's looks like a shaver's mark." Anyway, after he got himself dressed and everything, because the cabs are all kitted out with stuff, it was freshly shaved in literally the shape of a razor. So the stubble that was there in the morning that had grown back from being burnt off the previous day had grown back through the night, but then it had disappeared again sort of mid-morning. So he'd actually shaved it off. So fast forward to a couple, I can't remember how long it was now, whether it were days or weeks, but I wrote him a letter. Didn't he go off sick, Ian, with something?
No, that was the other incident when we got rid of him.
Yeah, but
he actually left because we were sacking him. Yeah,
I asked for him to produce. I asked, because you can do as long as it's only medical, can't you? To produce what had actually, what was actually wrong with him, and he obviously didn't, and he left, didn't he? So
no, there was the instance when he had the tanker down the yard, and he claimed the cap blew off it in his knee, and he's screaming on the floor. This went to statements. I think this got to the police actually, and it claimed that Gillian stopped the ambulance coming. Anyway, he goes to Queen's Medical in Nottingham, and I ring him en route. Ambulance come, and I ring him. I say, "Tim, I'll pick you up when you finish, mate." Anyway, he rang me. He said, "No matter, don't matter. My lad's come to fetch me." He came straight back to eat, but reckoned it shattered his knee. But we got his doctor's notes. There was nothing wrong with his knee. Again, another false claim. And then we'd had enough of it. We was boot him. Then he handed his notice in, gave the phone back, and then the following day, Kirsty Iqbal rang it.
Okay, so listen, we've got to end. We've literally got to end. If someone wants to introduce a song, Phil, do you want to do one?
Yeah, let's have Gold by Paloma Faith.
Sorry, Phil, that didn't come through quite clearly. Did you say double?
Gold.
Gold. Oh, sorry. Okay, yeah. By Pamela Faith, yeah.
Paloma. Yeah.
Paloma. Okay, fine. All right, guys. Obviously, there's so much more to talk about, as per always. And come and listen in again next Saturday. And thanks, everybody. Thanks, Phil, for popping in.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Let's leave it there. And good afternoon to everybody.
It's so good that I got that second flat in Lower Clapton. I mean, who'd have thought? Murder Mile next Mayfair. Yeah, Acne Beach. Yeah, okay, yeah, I'm there now. Right, go, okay. Ciao.
Oh, I don't care. I gotta celebrate the moment, gotta own it before it blows away. Blows away. Oh, beat my snare. I got it burning in my heart when it's dark and you feel the flame. Feel the flame. But there's a part of me that used to go and hide in peace. But now I'm touching the ceiling. I found something to believe in. And now all I see, so many possibilities. But now I'm touching the ceiling. I found something to believe in. But I got a feeling that tonight is on my side. I got it, I'm gold. Shining so bright that I'm gold.
say.